Yeah, I'm still chairman of Charleville Heritage Society and a genealogist for nearly 20 years locally. Yeah.
Okay, and we met on the Ballyhoura Historic Graves Training Project in Charleville last summer.
Yeah, we did.
And I thought you were passing by one day, and then but then the next day when I met you, we were in St. James's, and I was amazed with the depth of your knowledge and all the extra stuff I learned. So it was kind of a two-way process, I think. I was there to be the trainer, but I learned in return as well.
Yeah, it was the same with me. Like you see, with genealogy, we've an awful lot of gaps in the records in Irish genealogy. So the graveyards are perfect. Obviously, the information on headstones aren't always 100% correct, but at least they'll point you in the right direction.
Yes, yeah, that's what we say. What do we say? Just because it's carved in stone doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. You learn the hard way sometimes.
You do, yeah. So what I got out of the project in particular was being able to pursue this fellow Joseph Bolster, and I'd been on his trail for the last few years because we'd come across headstones like this. Now this is a very grand one, but he's got a very distinctive style. That if you look at there now, there's a crucified Christ on that, and he's kind of cartoony, you know, rather not comical, but just he has a very unusual style, and this IHS and segments is very much Bolster, and then this carving in relief, the letters standing out like that is very much, and then here at the bottom, if you squint there, you'll actually see down the very bottom, Joseph Bolster Fetch It made this. So we've come across, I don't know, 50, 60 of Joseph Bolsters, and then there's a couple of other Bolsters. There's a Charles and a William, who are stone carvers. And I knew I had their headstones, but I didn't know hardly anything about them, whereas you found out a lot about because we were working in St. James's. And I think you recognised that at least one of the headstones in St. James's was related to Bolster.
Yeah, it was his wife. It was Joseph, the stonecutter's wife, and his daughter. The daughter died at 19 in about 1849. And it was only when I saw her headstone that you see the actual like curtain swags that you see in it. Yeah. I noticed we had a building in the town of Charleville, and they had exactly that design above windows. And it kind of made me think, you know, maybe he was more than just a stonecutter. And then we went looking, and we realised that in actually the house tenure books for Charleville in the 1840s, on a side note, it says Joseph Bolter built all, and it was in relation to the houses in the turrets. And basically,
the turrets is a known part. Like people in Charleville, everybody knows what the turrets is, do they?
They would. If you actually know the Roman Catholic Church in Charleville, the houses to the left, as you're heading towards Ballygrand, they're known as the turrets, and it's directly first about 6 houses there. The left, Joseph Bolster built all.
Okay.
And he also had his workshop there and his stone cutting yard there as well.
Okay.
So we didn't know any of this until between the two of us had both of our information tied together. Yeah,
to my mind, he had such a distinctive style. Like the first place we saw him was a very discreet monument over in Kilfinnan. Actually, it was very low key, but it was for a bailiff who had been killed or who died as the result of a fight. And the landlord commissioned Bolster to make him a big grave monument. But it was very plain, and Bolster signed it at the bottom, J. Bolster. But it was afterwards then we began to realise he was our guy who was making all those ornate ones, you know, with Christ on the cross and the segmental IHSs and all that. Whereas you then who pointed out to me that this one here was his wife and his daughter. So that was a great discovery, you know, connecting both things together.
Yeah, we have his mother in the church over in Camalloch.
Yeah.
And again, it says all the 7 children were buried there, but it was the son Joseph again that does the carving for that as well, like, you know.
Okay. And she was a fair, is that right?
Yeah, a fair from Galbally. So we're going a bit further over the other side of Limerick, you know.
Yeah.
So like the family has been around, but he seemed to have settled in Charleville for a good period of time.
Yeah.
Until Joseph himself dies in 1869, and then we see him vanish from Charleville again.
His daughter died young, God love her.
Yeah, she died at about 19 years of age, yeah.
Right.
And we see her in a trade directory in Charleville as a bonnet maker.
Okay.
Just before died. She's on and she's the same address as Joseph. Who will say with Alice, we could, presume that the mother obviously might have been a bonnet maker as well and passed the trade down to the daughter. It would be very common, Yeah, definitely, because the time when Joseph Bolsters in Charleville, we're seeing a lot of Catholics, we'll say, with money at that time. We've a fellow called Daniel Clancy with the 2 verses here named after. And he seems to be mixing with him, and he also seems to be into horses. And like, you could walk into a graveyard anywhere and you can spot his headstones out a mile away compared to anyone else. Because the minute you showed me, we'll say, in the Church of Ireland, this is and I was like, I remember seeing loads of these style, and I remembered where then, and it's only now I have a better look at them now and I can see the art in it as well.
This does it for me. This one, it's bigger than the norm, but it has all his stylistic elements. And this project has been a great way for us to actually trace him and to learn more about Charleville as well, thanks to your involvement.
Yeah, we definitely know more than we did before anyway, and again, it opened up the door to other, people and characters that were in Charleville that we didn't really know about. And now once those graves, we're actually looking forward to, especially even with the historic graves now, to match up things with it.
Yeah. It all stitches together.
It's all starting to come together and paint a more clearer picture,
Yeah. Okay, that's super. That's very interesting, Evelyn. I say we've loads there now.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'll come out of that. So, all right, I'll see. Hopefully that'll stitch together.